presentation. So I would just,
proceed with their presentation.
correct.
All right, all right. We'll go ahead and do that. Sergeant Ritchie, I appreciate you taking the time to be here and tell us all about Cops and Barbers. And Eric, I greatly appreciate you joining as well. I do, I love this program, but I love it when you are able to talk about it. We
just got somebody else.
Mr. Phillips. Hi, Mr. Cherry. Can you hear us?
Good evening. Yes.
Okay.
Okay, so the record will reflect that Robert Cherry Jr. is present, and so we do have a quorum.
Okay.
So I guess we could back up a little bit, and we're going to kind of do things a little odd here. Go ahead, if you will, Madam Chair, and go through the approval of the agenda and approval of the minutes, and then you can go straight into your topic. Again, for purposes of everyone's benefit, we have to do a roll call vote on everything because this meeting is being held remotely. So it just takes a minute to do that.
Can I do a motion to approve of the agenda from March the 9th, which is tonight?
I'm not sure if I got that. I don't have my phone in the room. I'm just gonna step away and bring it and just check and see if I got it. If everybody else got it, I've got to have it.
It was on that first email.
All right, I'm from Billy Joe or you?
Billy Joe.
All right, I'm just gonna step away real quick.
Okay, that's okay.
All right.
Mr. Cherry, did you have the agenda for the evening?
I have to take a look to see if I've received it as well.
Okay, that's okay. That's okay. Ms. Nepal, do you have a copy of the agenda for the evening?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, so it's the first email.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. When was it sent? I'm sorry to slow everybody up.
Oh, God.
Yes, I have a copy of the agenda.
I think it was on the 1st.
Okay, I've got an email from the 2nd.
Maybe that's it.
I have a copy of the agenda now, Madam Chair.
Looking to see.
At this time, I move to accept the agenda as presented.
Keep going. I'll just keep looking.
Mr. Phillips, Mr. Cherry made a motion to move.
So there's a motion on the floor. I just forwarded Ms. Ray to the agenda to you also. Hopefully that'll go through. There is a motion to accept the agenda on the floor. Is there a second?
I second it.
Motion has been made by Mr. Cherry, second by Ms. Naipaul. I'm sorry. And we will proceed to a roll call vote. Those in favor say aye, and we'll go from there. Mrs. Naipaul.
Aye.
Mrs. Bass.
Aye.
Mr. Cherry.
Aye.
And Ms. Ray.
Aye.
Okay, and that is approved unanimously. Moving on to the second item, and Madam Chair, I'll turn it back over to you unless you would like for me to continue.
If you want to continue, Donna, we can do this a little quicker. That would be great.
All right, the minutes that have been presented to everyone for everyone's benefit has been previously presented to the board members or committee members. Is there a motion on the floor to approve the minutes as presented?
I move to accept.
Okay, there's a motion.
Presented.
Okay, motion made by Ms. Bass. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Aye.
second by Ms. Ray. Any discussion? Okay, motion's on the floor, and there's a motion by Ms. Bass, second by Ms. Ray. All those in favor, we will proceed to a roll call vote. Mrs. Nightpaw,
Aye.
Mrs. Bass,
Aye.
Mr. Cherry,
Aye.
Ms. Ray.
Aye.
Okay, and Madam Chair, that motion carries and the minutes are approved for February 9th.
All right.
So I turn it back over to you, and we're at the 5th bullet point on the agenda.
All right, I'm going to briefly state our mission here, our mission statement for the police community relations. And then we're going to turn it over to Sergeant Ritchie. Our Police Community Relations Committee mission statement is to serve as a liaison between the community and the police, to serve as an advocate for programs, ideas, and methods to improve relations between the community and the police, to disseminate information to the community and the city in regards to the state of relation between the community and the Greenville Police Department, to assist and promote the community education efforts concerning safety awareness and community and individual awareness. Not full every time. Thank you again, Sergeant Ritchie, and I'm going to pass it over to you.
Thank you all. Can y'all hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
My voice is probably gonna be a little scratchy. Been talking to kids all day, but appreciate you all giving us the space to talk about our Cops and Barbers program, which is something that I truly believe in. It's something that the chief is big on as well. For those that don't know the history of the Cops and Barbers program, it was actually a community outreach initiative that actually started in Charlotte, North Carolina, with then Chief Rodney Monroe and Detective Gary McFadden. And the program was started as a way to bridge the gap between the police department and basically got African American communities, a community that was underprivileged. If you know much about the history of the barbershop, especially in the African American community, it is like one of the pillars in the community. We know that at the barbershop, you can go in there and you talk about everything. From politics to sports to the latest rap song or video to what's going on in the community, and so we felt as if partnering up with the barbershop is a way to try to bridge that gap between the community and the police officers. And so it started out in Charlotte, North Carolina, but it was presented up in Washington D.C. At the 21st Century Policing Initiative, whenever President Barack Obama was in the White House. And at that time, our Deputy Chief Sauls was there. He saw the presentation and came back and decided that he presented to the chief that said that we need to launch. And so I was the last one that they chose to run the program. I would just tell you, when the chief came and asked me to do it, I probably told him no 3 times. Because at the time I was actually a school resource officer at CML's middle school, and I really enjoyed what I was doing. I've done a lot of things at the police department that I enjoyed, and I worked homicides for 5.5 years, and I felt as if I found my niche as far as what I was supposed to be doing, which is really touching kids that really need it. So when he came to me, I declined it 3 times, and so basically he said, "Well, what are your concerns about it?" And then he said, "Well, how about I send you to Charlotte? You see how it's ran, and you come back and you help us find the person to do it." And so I went to Charlotte, met with Detective McFadden for 2 days, and saw the program and realized that it was something that we really needed to try here in Greenville because it was super popular. And the way they got their start was that actually after the Ferguson ride and stuff, the barber up there, his name was Lucky. He was cutting Chief Monroe's hair. He's a convicted felon. He has run-ins with the police, and they're watching all the rioting going on TV at the barbershop. And he says, "Hey, we really have to do something about this." And so at the time, Chief Monroe said, "What do you want to do?" Connected in with McFadden, and then they came over to Cops and Barbers. And so 2016, we launched our program here with the Cops and Barbers program. And so I knew I was going to have two barbershops because I've been in Greenwood for 20 something years. The kids were here, they went to the barbershop. So I knew I had at least two barbershops that was going to participate. But I go around and I'm trying to get all these barbers to, understand the mission as far as what Cops and Barbers was going to do, what I wanted to do. And at our first initial meeting, I met all these barbers. And so when I got ready to launch the program and we put it on the news, Eric, whose barbershop is actually Young Vision Barbershop, I didn't meet him at the first initial meeting. He sent somebody that actually worked with him. And so out of respect, I was trying to let all the barbershops know that we was going to launch this program. It was going to be on the news. And I launched the program. And I go around, I'm talking to some of the barbers, and I go into Young Vision Barbershop to talk to Alonzo that I thought owned the barbershop. And I'm talking to him about the program. And as I'm getting ready to walk out, Eric, he hollers at me and says, "Hey, can I talk to you?" And I come over to him. He says, "Hey, no, I'm the owner of the barbershop, and I didn't agree to participate in this program." And so now I'm sitting there like, man, I done spent 2 hours at each barbershop. We done put it out on the news that he's part of Cops and Barber. He's like, I didn't agree to participate in this. So it took me another 2 hours to sit down with, look, this is my vision. This is what I want to see with the program. This is what it's about. We're really trying to, come into the barbershop and have those conversations that are tough. You're looking at it from the police relationship with the community, but it's something that was really needed. And so I stressed to him that, hey, it's going to be authentic. It's going to be genuine. I'm not going to cut any corners. And so after about 2 hours of talking to him, his words to me was, well, I'm going to give you a chance. And so from that, I guess we must have done something right, because he's still a part of it. He's actually one of our biggest advocate for it. But I would just tell you that with the program, and before COVID, we was actually ready to launch a new way that we was going to do it, where we was going to go into the barbershops on Saturdays and talk about some issues. One of the things that I found out when we did start doing the program is that we talked about those issues that you see nationally, things that's going on in the world. And we talk about police issues. But I would tell you one of the main things that came away from those meetings, that a lot of people talked about quality of life issues that was going on in their community, whether it's abandoned houses, street lights being out, people with junk cars in their yard. And so, although we had those conversations about, police relations and stuff, it was really more about quality of life issues that people came to the meeting to try to address, whether it be sanitation issues. And so from that, I took it as if, hey, we're touching all aspects of a community, not just police relations, but really what affects people in those communities. And so, it's been a great partnership. We have now expanded. It's about 13 barbershops that participate in the Cops and Barbers program. And so among that, we do a lot of things as far as outreach, as far as community, turkey giveaways, back to school, backpack giveaways. And so we just try to do stuff to uplift our community and stuff like that. And so I'll let Eric speak if he wants to speak right now about his thought from it. But for me, it's been a great partnership, and I'm looking forward to the year when we can open up as far as dealing with the pandemic, because there are some things that I really think that we can do to broaden things that we do with the Cops and Barbers program.
Can y'all hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. My perspective, and again, I mean, like Sergeant Williams had already started on how we originally met. Him taking and coming into the barbershop. I sent out one of the managers for the shop, and like he said, he came into the barbershop to actually take and let us know, hey, he appreciated us being a part of it. And like I told him, I said, no, I don't deal with the police, I mean, not that. I really sent my guys to just check it out, just see what it's about. Hey, they're talking about Cops and Barbers. Let's see what they're talking about. So I took and I sent the representatives out. They checked it out, came back, talked to me about it. I said, okay. I said, well, we'll see. But I woke up the next morning watching the news, and lo and behold, the barbershop name was going across the television. I'm like, did y'all agree to this? And they was like, no, we just went to the meeting. I said, okay. I was fortunate to have him come into the barbershop the next day. And when he came in, I said, excuse me, can I talk to you for a second? He had a seat, and it was literally, like he said, maybe a 2-hour conversation, literally. But again, in that conversation, I was emphasizing to him, my run-ins I had with the law when I was younger. And then that spilled over to not necessarily hatred, but I developed my own way of life. I mean, I'm a barber. I've been owning my own business at that time for maybe 7 years. I mean, I'm self-sufficient. I'm necessarily off the grid. I do my own thing. So and then we sat back and he was explaining to me the program, and then me, I was still holding on to necessarily to how I was believing on the way I felt about policing the issues I had. And then finally, I came around and I said, hey, I said, you know what? I said, you trying to come up with a solution. And then like I teach my guys in the barbershop, I say, don't come to me with a problem. You come to me with a solution to a problem. And that's what I teach my guys. So, and I'm like, right now, he's presenting to me some type of solution to a problem that's going on around the nation. I said, hey, you know what? I'll be a part of it. But like I said, over the last 5 years, I mean, I will say, this program has definitely been proven 100% true through and through. Because for me, it's not just about like getting to know the thing is getting all officers, Black, white, Hispanic, all officers to actually come into the barbershops. Like in the very beginning, of course, I mean, it's a little uncomfortable because some people really don't come into necessarily a full, almost Black environment, which my barbershop is not necessarily a full Black barbershop. I have just as many white clients as I do Black clients, but it's like classified technically as a Black environment. So you get a white officer to take and walk into this Black environment who's not necessarily used to walking into it. Then at first he's a little bit uncomfortable. But then that's when you get me or somebody or else an owner of the barbershop that's a part of it, to throw that icebreaker out there. Take and introduce them to some of the customers just so that we can sit back and have those conversations to realize, man, like, dang, we still got a whole lot more in common than we knew. But just from the outside, you necessarily don't know how much we have in common if you don't really sit down to have that conversation. So for me, I mean, like the program is bringing a lot of people together and giving officers a different dynamic of the Black community. And it's giving the Black community a different dynamic of officers. Because again, I mean, if we just sit back and watch the news all day, I mean, the news only sit back and portray all of the bad that go on around the world. But again, there's so much good stuff that goes on like inside neighborhoods and communities that we'll realistically never almost get to see only because of what the news only put out there. So again, I mean, that's one of the reasons why I'm grateful to be a part of the program now. Like I said, 5 years in, I mean, Sergeant Williams, I mean, hey, the chief, other officers I met, I mean, it's proven through and through. I mean, this program, I mean, it's really been designed out and achieving what it was designed to do. So I'm definitely grateful to be a part of it and glad we got it right here in Greenville.
And I will say real quick is that we were the second in the nation to actually launch the Cops and Barbers program. And through our program, I actually reached out, a young lady from Seattle, Washington reached out to me probably last year sometime, just trying to get some background on doing some stuff in their community. She is a white female, but she comes from an upbringing of, she saw some things going on in the community. So she really wanted to do something. And so she actually reached out to me, and we're now Sheriff McFadden up in Charlotte. And as of, I think it was 3 weeks ago, they actually launched their Cops and Barbers program out of Seattle to Washington, just based off of some of the things we reached out to them about, and from McFadden. And we hope to go out and actually do a symposium later on in the year, just to let other departments know. And I would just tell you also real quick, just a quick story about one of the success stories of Cops and Barbers, just from Eric's shop. A young lady coming to his shop, has never been there. She happened to see the news and saw that his barbershop was listed as a Cops and Barbers barbershop. And she was actually going through a domestic situation. And she runs in to see Eric and, asks with everything. Eric say, I don't know what to do, but let me call, Officer Williams. And so he calls me and puts me in touch with her. I put in touch with people at the police department to help her out as far as domestic violence situations. But come to find out, I think the husband had like some type of mental breakdown or something like that. And through the assistance of us putting her in contact with people at the department, she was able to get some assistance. He was able to get some assistance. And I believe Eric was saying when she came back like a few days later and really just thanked him that basically she's like, hey, you just, you helped save my life and save my husband's life because of what he was going through. So, and so that's happened. That was simply just because she had saw something to say, cops and barbers, that she went to seek some help. And so that's some of the things that we want to try to pull out of what we're doing, not just with law enforcement, but really give people, the barbershop is like a sacred ground. One thing about us when they go into the barbershop, as we know, you be sitting there with a pastor, you be sitting there with somebody that sell drugs, a gang member, business people. But the barbershop is a safe ground. When officers go in that barbershop, we're not going there to frisk people, pat people down. We're not in there to run once on people. That's your safe haven while you're in there. And so being able to build that trust, it hasn't been easy, but over time though, it has worked because people used to be like, well, the police are always at your barbershop. You snitching up in there, barbershops got tagged with that notion of being snitches. But as we kept going and they realized that, hey, that's Sergeant Richie Williams or they're part of cops and barbers and the things that was taken into the barbershop to try to better our community. Now they don't have that stigma. They be like, is this okay? We're good to go. And so it's just simple things like that I hope that if you have an encounter with someone on the street, maybe if you met them in one of these barbershops, it changes the dynamics of that conversation that may have been a confrontation to say, oh, man, you come in the barbershop all the time. You come to Harris Barbershop, I know you, and maybe we can build some relations and dialogue that way so that some of the things that you're seeing with traffic stops perhaps doesn't happen here in Greenville. So that's the hope and the goal as far as the relationship that we build in these communities, that hopefully we start seeing each other as people. And then when we have an encounter on the street, you have some familiarity with each other, and it's not always confrontational.
To piggyback off what he just said, like when we first took and when we first got involved with it, you would have a cop car too at the barbershop, and the people at the business beside us, you would see them looking over the fence like, dang, they got some trouble going on over there. They got the police over there. But then over time, you sit back and then they realize like, what? Well, the police is always over there. But then they're like, oh man, they're part of that cops and barbers program. Because like in the very beginning, that's one of them things where they really sit back like, dang, they got trouble over there. Nah, but there's no trouble. We over here building bridges.
Thank you guys so much for all bringing the program, for one. That was just amazing. Years ago, I followed this program. I met Eric years ago. I've known Richie for a very long time, but the heart is in it. It's something that's well needed. And I want it to get back so that it could be one of those that I can like come in and see how you guys do it, like how you hang out in the barbershop and what you discuss and what you talk about. I joke too, wherever I have a lot of law enforcement come by and talk with me sometimes at my house, and everybody's like looking over, oh, why is the police there? There must be trouble. So I get the same thing all the time, and they're finally figured out, oh, it's just, it's okay. But it's about building those bridges, and I have a lot of respect for what you're doing, and I want to be a part of it whenever you guys get back to normal. I would love to come in and even help you recruit the new officers, to come in and make some commitments to the program as well.
Awesome, we appreciate it. Thank you so much.
So, Betsy Ray, Mr. Cherry, Ms. Nepal, y'all have any questions of
I'm just blown away, and I'm so thrilled to have gotten an opportunity to hear these two gentlemen talk. And Eric, I think you should run for public office. You've got a perspective that politicians too often do not have. And I really appreciate your honesty and the clarity in your words and just your intent and the love in your heart, you know, and the joy you feel in your job and your business. I mean, you're just like a model citizen. So thank you for doing what you do.
Yes, ma'am.
And of course, Sergeant Williams, thank you too.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Sure.
Ms. Nepal, do you have anything?
Say that I learned a lot tonight, and I want to say thank you for the presentation and for the hard work that you both have put into the community, especially the young people, which the young people need more people like you. So if there is any time you need a volunteer, please consider me. I'm grateful for this. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Cherry?
Yes, Sergeant Williams, I want to thank you for taking the lead on this initiative. I recall reading about it, and as you spoke this evening, that connection to Charlotte, and knowing we were able to model that program here in Greenville, and through your efforts, it's now become a beacon that's followed by a department across this country. So again, I certainly thank you for all of your efforts. I'd be remiss if I did not also thank you, Eric, for having that conversation with Sergeant Williams and continue on in this process. I certainly know personally the haven that the barbershop is. I miss those days. I don't go to the barbershop as often as I used to now. I'm somewhat challenged in terms of some things. But, yeah, certainly. But Eric, you know, it took a lot for you to meet Sergeant Williams and have a proactive conversation. Oftentimes in law enforcement, we hear about acting as a deterrent, but to be proactive in the community, this program speaks to the heart of community policing. So I applaud you both, and I look forward to this program being even more successful. Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you so much.
So Eric, I'm gonna kind of put you on the spot a little. What I'm hoping is once this pandemic and this COVID stuff finally goes away, I'm hoping that we can actually have a meeting at your establishment and bring in people from the community, like Mr. Cherry, Miss Ray, Miss Nepal, like bring people into the community and actually have like a bull session at your establishment once we can get face to face. I'm not a big fan of Zoom. I like to be able to see people and talk to people and have those honest conversations. So hopefully maybe in the fall, I can get with Richie, get with you, and maybe we can schedule one of our meetings at your barber shop if you're game for it.
We'll even bring you some backpack stuff.
Indeed.
So that's my plan. That's been my plan the whole time, is I really wanted to get to a barber shop, but right now we're still under virtual rules. But hopefully once we get out from under these rules, we can all get together and just talk about whatever's going on. Because I think you're right. We just need to all have honest conversations and get to know each other. So if you're game, we're game, and hopefully we can set that up.
Yes, sir. That can be done. Just let me know.
Thank you, gentlemen, so much. I really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you, Richie. Thank you, Eric.
Thank you, guys.
Yes, sir.
Thank you all.
All right.
If y'all want to jump off, you're welcome to. We're just gonna finish up this meeting.
Okay, thank you.
All right, thank
All
you.
right, thank y'all.
That was good. That was nice.
Yes.
That was extremely nice.
So there's a couple things that I would like to see the group. So we have April May and June. So we got 3 more months before we take our summer session break. You know, if there's something that y'all want to set up or y'all want to bring to the table, please think about it. You know, if you have somebody in your community, or you have, you know, somebody you know that you can bring in, please bring them in and we can set it up. You know, spread the word about people being able to zoom into this PCRC, because it, you know, the way it's set up is it's supposed to be the whole community coming in. So if you have friends and associates, the only thing you have to do is let me, Carol Ann, or Billy Joe know, and we can send them the Zoom link, and then they can zoom in, you know, and we can have a discussion about whatever. You know, it just can't always be us. We need to really include the community in these discussions. So just be thinking about that, you know, for the next couple months. One thing that I was thinking, and Billy Joe actually brought this up, is something as a group PCRC, is maybe come up with something that we can give back to the community. Doesn't have to be huge, doesn't have to be big, but just something small where we can give back to the community, where PCRC is giving back to the community. You know, if it's anything like Carol Ann said, backpacks, or whatever it is. But I'd like to be able to see PCRC give back to the community. Eventually, I want to go to everybody's district and do something in your community. Because it's easier if we go to, say, Mr. Cherry's community. It's easier if the people can come there. We go to Betsy Ray, Miss Nepal's. So we take the show on the road. But I need y'all's help to get the word out there so we can get people involved. So that's kind of my vision. I've been talking about it. Please be thinking about something like that, because we really need to get the community involved. And like Carol Ann said, we get the officers there. We just need y'all to help get the community there. And we can talk about whatever, you know, be it racing, football, basketball. You know, the only thing two things you don't ever talk about is what?
Politics.
Politics and religion.
Religion.
You know? Yeah. You know, other than that, I think the floor is open. You know, and if not, we just get to know each other, you know, because I'm sure the community has a lot of questions from us. So we can learn stuff. We just got to get together. That's my biggest thing, is I want us to get together, not just us, but the community, and get them all inclusive. So that's kind of my vision, and hopefully we can get to it. So
Yeah. Carol Ann, maybe you and I could talk to Mike Slocum and see what he would let us, you know, put on the Ben Gray bed chest, because that's like a big.
I do have access to put anything on that page when it comes to police. I was told by, you know, years ago with that.
Okay. Because I know he's careful, you know.
I know, yes, it just can't be a business.
He's careful in a good way.
Yes, ma'am.
He doesn't want people arguing with each other, and, you know, like all the
You
political.
know, this kind of stuff would be great. I mean, like, this is what it needs to be used for.
We sure could get a big audience between the two of us if we could do it there.
Oh, absolutely. That and next door.
And yeah, and even your personal, you know, Facebook site, you reach a lot of people.
It's one of those things that you know, when you do, if you see things in the community, you have questions of why things were done a certain way, you know. So I've always wanted to be like, I need a go-to. I want to know, I want to find out.
Yeah.
So I've just built the relationship with as many officers as I possibly can. Um, and I suggest, you know, kind of the same in your area, you know, in your substations. I know it's not the way it was before because there's really not any people, you know, but it was one of those things that I made a point to visit substations and drop off a little something here, or donuts here, you know, just things like that, just to kind of.
Well, hopefully in the next 3, maybe 4 months at most, we'll have this COVID thing really under control. It's under control in my house.
Yes,
We've both been vaccinated, both shots, so
good.
I almost feel like I can hug somebody.
I love it. I love it.
But, you know, I'd like to see the whole committee come along on that, and we can.
Sherry, is there any topic that you would like to discuss or put together for one of the future months? We have the 3 months left. I just didn't want to not give you that opportunity. If there was a certain topic that you wanted to discuss or wanted us to have a program about.
There's not one that I have immediately now as we're conversing about it, but I certainly can give that thought and respond back to you accordingly.
No, that's great. Thank you. Ms. DePaul, the same question. Just didn't know if there was another topic that you had that you were thinking about that maybe would be a good topic.
Yes. Firstly, I sent Sergeant Staffelbach an email this morning. I am not too sure if he got it, but I want to say thank you to you for your great ideas. I will be contacting you on certain things. But I was just thinking about this. I know we covered the last meeting with integrated and all of that with the police and the community. I am thinking in terms of something like substance abuse, since we have a lot of the young people in the community that are turning not only to weed, but there is more to just than just the weed. There are other different chemicals and all of that, and a lot of vaping. And I don't know, for some reason, how can we put that idea out there to them, how dangerous this is to their health. I don't know if that is something that we can cover, if it will be allowed to do so.
Yeah, I mean, it's just a matter of reaching out to a subject matter expert and doing a short presentation. You know, but here's the thing too, is we've got to get the word out there. So like, instead of having 7 screens up, it would be nice if we had 100 screens up.
Right.
Or, you know, I don't know if you have young kids, maybe, you know, a high school or a middle school class that, you know, as a project, the teacher sets it up and everybody zooms in that night and then listens to the presentation. So
Right. I was thinking maybe one of the middle schools or even J.H. Rose or one of those schools might be able to assist us. If not, we can also do something also that we need to look at is something in the community when it's allowed to, whereby we could build back that trust between the community and the police department, that we can let them know that we are there for support, reach out to them, because if the police is calling into an area, they will not get much information from the community because some of the members of the community don't want to interact. So if we can do something that we can get the community together, because what I'm seeing is that over the years in working in the community and working with my council lady as well too, we have encountered this problem in my district too, where people do not want to communicate with the police at all. Even if efforts are made, they still don't want to, because I think it's a matter of trust and then there are other issues. But if we can just take it one day at a time, small things, and build back that trust, that will be awesome, because my district need that. Even in the area that I live in, we need that. We really need that. And
I agree with you.
yeah. Mm-hmm.
oh, you're right. You're
I
100%
totally agree with
right.
you.
And that's why I keep talking about we take the show on the road. So we go to your district and, you know, you advertise that, hey, we're just gonna have a meet and greet, and we bring some officers.
Right.
And some people in the community, and you're right, it starts out small. Anything starts out small, but once you start out small, then little by little, hopefully it'll gain traction. You know, and it'll get bigger and bigger. But that's how you start it. It's just like that. So
Right. Well, whenever you guys are ready, just liaise with me, either one of you,
Yeah,
and I will get my husband, who is on the homeowners association.
yes.
I will get our homeowners association to come in and work with you guys on it. I will actually talk to them and see if the members who live in the community, as well as the other owners, that can come by and we can liaise with you guys, because we did that, something like that many years ago. We did that out here and we did not have a good turnout. But I remember at one time there was something at Rose High School where they had games and different stuff, and that brought out the community. But I mean, I would love to see that come back and happen. And that's the only way we can begin to do something in the community. And that's a great point. But thank you guys, for all of you, for the ideas, for the job that you do, especially you, Caroline. I really appreciate how you do things, and Miss Betsy Ray as well too, and everybody. And thank you, Sergeant Stafferback. And I'm hoping to hear from you guys soon.
Yes, yes, yes. We're gonna be in touch and talk about setting that up, because I want that
Yes.
to happen over there in your district.
Right.
All right, if there is nothing else, can Mr. Phillips, am I just doing a motion to adjourn?
Yeah, so you would, is there a motion to adjourn from anyone?
I think
No.
Betsy.
Okay, Betsy Ray, motion has been made by Ms. Ray. Is there a second?
I
Anyone?
second the motion to adjourn.
Second by Ms. Naipaul. And we will,
Yes.
any discussion? Okay, the motion is to adjourn. We will now go to a roll call vote. Ms. Naipaul,
I do.
Ms. Bass,
Aye.
Mr. Cherry,
Aye.
and Ms. Ray.
Aye.
And that is approved and passes. We stand adjourned.
Thank you so much, Mr. Phillips. I appreciate you.
Sure. Thank you to everybody.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
all right, everybody have a good night.
Billy,
Y'all too.
You too.
Thank you so much for everything.